It was a chilly spring evening in 1922. The Gruber family had just finished their dinner at their isolated farmstead in rural Bavaria. Little did they know, it would be their last meal. As night fell, an unseen figure lurked in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. By morning, 6 bodies lay brutally slaughtered, and one of Germany's most perplexing murder mysteries was born. The Hinterkaifeck murders have captivated the public imagination for over a century. 6 people butchered with a farming tool, a killer who lived among the corpses for days afterward, and a crime that remains unsolved to this day. What really happened on that fateful night? Who could have committed such a heinous act? And why has the truth remained so elusive after all these years? Today, we'll dive deep into this chilling cold case. We'll examine the victims, the suspects, and the bizarre clues left behind. And we'll try to unravel the tangled web of secrets and lies surrounding one of history's most baffling unsolved crimes. This is the story of the Hinterkaifeck murders. Our tale begins at the Hinterkaifeck farm, a small homestead about 43 miles north of Munich. The property was home to the Gruber family, 63-year-old Andreas, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and Victoria's 2 young children, Cecilia and Joseph. By all accounts, they lived a simple rural life. Andreas was known as a cantankerous but hard-working farmer. His wife kept to herself, rarely leaving the farm. Victoria helped run the household while caring for her children. But beneath this mundane facade, dark secrets lurked. Rumors swirled that Andreas had been sexually abusing his daughter Victoria for years. In fact, many believed he was the true father of Victoria's young son Joseph. The scandal had driven away their previous maid, and now a new girl named Maria Baumgartner was set to start work at the farm. It was Friday, March 31st, 1922. Maria arrived at Hinterkaifeck that afternoon, escorted by her sister. As dusk approached, Maria's sister said goodbye and headed home. She was likely the last person to see the family alive. As night fell, a sinister presence descended on the farm. One by one, the victims were lured to the barn. There, they met a gruesome fate, bludgeoned to death with a mattock, a sharp farm tool similar to a pickaxe. First Andreas, then his wife Cecilia. Victoria and her daughter soon followed. Finally, the killer entered the house. There, he found young Joseph asleep in his crib. The toddler was murdered where he lay. Maria, the new maid, was the final victim, killed in her bedroom before she could even unpack her bags. In the span of mere hours, an entire family had been brutally slaughtered. But the horror was far from over. For the next several days, the killer remained at the farm, living among the corpses of his victims. He fed the livestock, ate food from the kitchen, and even built fires in the hearth. The bodies lay undiscovered as life on the farm continued in a macabre charade. It wasn't until 4 days later, on April 4th, that anyone realized something was amiss. Neighbors noticed young Cecilia's absence from school. The family had failed to attend Sunday church services. Finally, a group of villagers decided to check on the farm. What they found would shock the nation and spawn one of Germany's most enduring mysteries. The search party entered the barn first. There, stacked neatly in the hay, they discovered 4 mutilated bodies. Cries of horror echoed across the farmyard. Inside the house, 2 more victims were found, including little Joseph, still in his crib. Word spread quickly. Before long, the farm was swarming with police, reporters, and curious onlookers. Everyone wanted to know, who could have committed such a monstrous act? As the investigation began, bizarre details emerged. Neighbors reported strange occurrences in the days leading up to the murders. Andreas had mentioned hearing footsteps in the attic and finding an unfamiliar newspaper on the property. Most chilling of all, evidence suggested the killer had been secretly living in the home for days or even weeks before the murders. Had the family been watched, stalked by an unseen predator lurking in their own attic? The crime scene itself offered more questions than answers. A large sum of money was found untouched in the house, ruling out robbery as a motive. The precise, brutal nature of the killings pointed to a crime of passion or revenge. But who would want the entire family dead? And how had the killer managed to lure each victim to the barn without raising alarm? As police dug deeper, a list of suspects began to emerge. There was Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a neighbor rumored to be young Joseph's real father. He had acted suspiciously at the crime scene, entering the house alone and disturbing evidence. Then there were the Gump brothers, known criminals with a history of violence. One sister even claimed on her deathbed that her brothers were the killers. Some theorized that Victoria's husband Carl, presumed dead in World War I, had secretly returned to exact revenge for his wife's incestuous relationship with her father. Others suspected Paul Müller, a German immigrant linked to similar family massacres in America years earlier. The investigation dragged on for decades. Suspects were questioned, evidence was analyzed, but no charges were ever filed. The case grew cold, but public fascination never waned. In 2007, German police students re-examined the case using modern forensic techniques. While they identified a prime suspect, the name was never released out of respect for the person's descendants. To this day, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain officially unsolved. The farm itself was demolished in 1923, erasing the last physical reminders of that fateful night. But the mystery lives on in books, documentaries, and the imagination of amateur sleuths. A memorial shrine now stands near the former farmstead, a somber reminder of lives cut tragically short. So what really happened at Hinterkaifeck? Was it a crime of passion fueled by dark family secrets? A random act of violence by a deranged killer? Or something even more sinister? We may never know the full truth, but one thing is certain. The echoes of those 6 brutal murders still resonate a century later. The Hinterkaifeck case continues to haunt us, a chilling reminder that some mysteries refuse to die. As you ponder this unsolved crime, consider this. What secrets might be lurking in the shadows of your own